Now I know what you're thinking. You've done this game before. You've done this game multiple times. You'd be right. This is The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, with lovely artworks, including an extremely detailed story about the creation of Hyrule and the gates of Hyrule, and how Hyrule is a place. And here we have the Imprisoned War, where Ganon did the thing, and he was like, haha, and they were like, no, and so they imprisoned him in the place. And so then a guy appeared, and his name is Gaganom. And he's like, oh, and he took the female peoples. And so then Zelda contacted Lunk and was like, hello, my name is Zelda. And that was all that was said. And so here we have Zeldor and Lunk. And that is how it is. So, you got the select screen where you can set your name, and you can erase the name, and you can copy the name, and you got a main screen with a bunch of things on it, which are fairly obvious, to be honest. This game is very good about being very obvious about what things are and what they do and how to do them and stuff. And you got a controller and stuff, and most of the buttons are used, but not the button or the R button. The button is not used, guys. So, the one above the control pad, you don't use the button. Sadly, I know. You can walk in all directions, you can jump down, you can pushy the block, you can use the A button to do things depending on what kinds of things you got, you can talk to people, you can read, yeah, and then you can swing your sword, and you can swing it again, and you can swing if you feel like it, you can swing if you don't feel like it, and you can use Y to use items, including items that I will not be touching, because this will be a minimalist run. I will only grab the items I absolutely must grab to complete the game. Every other item I will leave alone. And we get a lovely close-up map screen by hitting the X button. It's fabulous. And they spoil there's a dark world. How dare they? Here's some objects, all of which are essentially required, for the most part. And you got a dead screen and a saving screen. You can save if you feel like it. It's always a nice thing to save. But you should probably not continue without saving. Alright. If you run out of magic power, you can return to the dungeon entrance using the magic mirror. And here's you got potions and stuff. Very important things. This is a very detailed guide, by the way. Lots of stuff that's explained in this one as opposed to some of the other ones. They even got explanation about the Dark World portals, the Whirlpool portals, the Pond of Happiness, which, they don't exactly say what happens, but they do mention it. And here you got dungeons, you gotta collect the pendants and the crystals, and you can find a map and compass. There's no compass in Hyrule Castle. And a big key to open the big chest. Look at that big key. It's like, hello, I have a face. And you got a map screen for your dungeons, always a nice thing. And you got pots. That's all I need to talk about. You got pots. I don't need to say anything more, man. I don't need to say anything more. You got items, several of which here are going to be completely unnecessary. I'm not collecting the boomerang. I won't collect any bottles, the bug catching net, the mushroom, the magic powder, the shovel. Well, no, I'll collect the shovel for a short bit. I will not get the Staff of Birna, the magic cape, or Bamos, and a couple other things. So, once more, we have a bit of story. You gotta, not listen to your uncle and stuff, and go into the sewers and stuff, and then you need to fight a grasping sandman, go to the Mount Olympus, and then get the sword. So here we have some enemies, including Stalfos Knight, Ball and Chain Dude, Mummy, Sandman, Cyclops Guy, Plant with Legs, Scared Boy, and Wizrobe. And that is at last the end of this extremely detailed book of The Link to the Past. Let us begin with the very first part of the game. I I think this game essentially needs no more introduction about what exactly it is, for it is a game that is very overdone in the terms of LP land, and I will admit this freely. Though I don't know how much this style will be done. And there's a lovely previously completed save. I'm gonna need a lovely name here from my dude. So let's see. I'm gonna take a Z. I'm gonna take a dot, a line, an O, another line, and a 7. Perfect. This is going to be the name of our character. Help me. Please help me. I am a person who is somehow speaking to you for some reason, because I sort of just have that power in this game, because why not? For plot contrivances, it is necessary for me to speak to you in your mind. I am in the dungeon of the castle. Please help me. I'm gonna go out for a while. Don't leave the house. Well, you know what I say to that? I say phooey on your rules. I'm gonna leave the house. I'm not even gonna pick up anything. And we're gonna go on an adventure to the castle. Because someone told us that they were in a dungeon. And you know, we got to go and say hello to those types. They're like, man, look at me. I am in a dungeon. And you're just like, oh, you are indeed in that dungeon. How dare you be in that dungeon? Get out of that dungeon. And so you help them out of that dungeon. And that's basically how things go. So we shall proceed onward to the place. And the uncle's like, oh no, you came here, but I am dying. So here, take my stuff. And so we will. We shall traverse our way all the way to the Princess of Princesses and see just what we can do here on this adventure, which is going to get exceedingly painful as we proceed. But for now, it shall be fairly straightforward. Take our way, go on down, say hello to the princess, escape, and then we'll just keep on trucking and walk down the lovely red carpet as we walk forward and don't dealing with any dudes or whatsoever. And then the carpet just ends, but then more carpet. I gotta wonder how flattened that carpet is. Hey buddy, you're dead. I don't need that chest. You can keep your smelly map. Yeah. So we're just gonna keep going on and smash that guy in the head. Make that guy eat some bread. You know, he doesn't like bread, you know, he's not a baguette fan. But you know, some people, they just have to accept the fact that they're not a fan of French bread. So we'll go in here, we'll take out this guy, we'll head this direction. We won't get that chest either, because that one contains our first completely missable minimalist pathway shenanigans. We do not want that. We are not going to take that. The boomerang will remain in here and in Kakariko Village and the Village of Outcasts. If you happen to go all the way to the Village of Outcasts without a boomerang, you can get a magic boomerang there. But I do not need it for my minimalist run. I shall go on with my sword and my piddly shield, and we'll beat up a ball and chain dude with a pot. Yeah. And then dodge that, and then do one of these. And then do again. And then boop him. Oh, boop him. And that's how you win the video game. Now if I go in here, she'll be like, oh, thank you. I had a feeling you were getting close. The wizard is magically controlling all the soldiers. The wizard is an inhumane fiend. I understand. Let's get out. But first you have to go to the first floor. But first we're going to take this chest, which has a torch in it. Or a lamp, you know. It depends on, you know, what kind of person you are. Do you say lamp? Do you say torch? It's probably more generally based on, like, where you grew up. Like, if you grew up in, like, Great Britain, you might say torch over lamp. But, you know, or lantern. Lantern's another option. Anyway, as I've shown, the lamp actually shows up in 3 different chests, depending. That is the furthest one. The second one it could appear in is near the uncle. And the first one is naturally the one in your house, but I felt like being a silly and getting the one inside there, which would have had 5 rupees had you grabbed the torch elsewhere. Who needs that map? I don't need that map. Maps. Though I probably will just magically grab maps in the future. I just don't feel like grabbing this map because I'm a neener face. You can keep your map. So the rules of this little adventure I will be taking, as I think I'm going to just need to be talking about stuff here for a little bit as I walk through here. I will only be getting the necessary items and anything that I have to grab to progress the plot. If I can skip something, I will. So that means the boomerang is going to be missed. One of the medallions isn't necessary, for instance. I don't need to grab any additional shields or armor. I only need to grab one sword. I will only be grabbing the level 2 sword. I believe, yeah, I can just walk through here. And several other things. I will explain about the necessityness of items as we progress through the story. But for now, it was a pretty simple matter of, yeah, the boomerang is our first missed item. And I believe the next thing I'm going to do is grab... yeah, I need a key. I believe it's over here. Yes. Alright. Now, I could conceivably, you know, light a torch. But my magic's pretty limited. So we're going to limit our torchy to what we can and can't do. And this is going to be a fairly short beginning. I'm only going to go up to probably the... that's a good question. How far am I going to go? I won't be doing the Eastern Palace today. That will come next. Let's see. I could... well, there's not actually much to do before that, except maybe get bombs, which are going to be needed for all sorts of puzzles in this video game. I just don't know an easy way to get bombs at the moment, besides maybe going to a shop. Maybe I'll find a chest in the Eastern Palace that has bombs, but for now... yeah, it's going to be a fairly short beginning, although, given the length and shenanigans involved in showing off that manual, this guy knows my name. Once I finished with you, the final one, the Seal of the Wise Men will be open. We got to save the princess. We gotta destroy the wizard. You only defeat the Master Sword. You gotta talk to the village elder. But watch out, the enemies will be looking for you. And in there is our only skippable full heart container. The other ones you have to grab to progress the plot. So I'll be taking on the first dungeon with 3 hearts. Already we're going in with a handicap, but that's perfectly fine. Just head to the point that we will progress. In other words, I will reach the first dungeon, and that will be our stopping point for our first little adventure in the loveliness and lovely world of The Legend of Zelda. A true masterpiece which still holds up to this day. It very much encapsulates the overhead Zelda style, and doesn't seem too outdated even now, which is a very nice thing to see in some video games that are fairly aged. Like this is just about 31-year-old game-ish. It's a long time. Oh yeah, I can't dash yet. I forgot that little tidbit of information. Excuse you. Forgot that little tidbit of information. I will be able to dash, but not just yet. Oh yeah, I believe I can get bombs easily enough. Well, no, I don't want to get bombs from Sahasa Salad's house because I think he's got a Pizza Heart in his back room. And, yeah, I don't want to grab any Pizza Hearts if I can help it. In fact, I'm gonna go out of my way to try and not go to anywhere that could potentially give me a Pizza Heart. And yes, I call it a Pizza Heart. It is truly the way to call that item. And I'm almost dead. Hey, buddy. Armo's friend is saying hello. I think this is the earliest an Armo's ever shows up in a Zelda game. Very, very fast. Anyway, we have reached Dungeon 1. I'm gonna go over here and grab myself a heart. That's not a heart. That's a rupee. This one will be a heart. That's not a heart. That's a rupee. Well, I feel gypped. I'm just gonna hold this pot over my head. It sort of floats there. And next time, we take on Dungeon 1. Till then.